Hi guys, we're going to go ahead and pick up where we left off yesterday. So at this point, what you see on the screen is, we've got our invaders up on the screen right now. So today we're going to work on implementing a couple new classes here. A player class. So essentially, we want to create the things we're going to need to play the game here and get rid of these invaders here. All right. So let's go back into our files here. So basically, we left off. Working through this function here where we set up our invaders, and then we put that in our view up here, the function setup invader. So again, this is what's putting all the invaders in those rows and columns on the view there, just by all the different things we set up yesterday in class here. So today we're gonna begin here. We're going to implement our player class here. So we're going to go ahead and command new here to, or command N, excuse me, to go ahead and get in here and make sure we're choosing our Cocoa Touch class source, Cocoa Touch, and then we're going to click on next, and we're going to call this class player. Okay, and make sure it's got to be a subclass of SK sprite node. Okay, make sure we're choosing that one. All right, as always, we're choosing that, and language should still be it, Swift. Okay, and then go ahead and click on next to create it. All right. And we just want to make sure we're inside our Space Invader folder. Click on create. And we are in business there. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and implement, or we're going to add the following things to our player.swift. So we've got to import, all right, the SK, or the sprite kit. All right, so that way it brings in all just the different dynamics and features for the sprites that we can use here. So now let's go into our class here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we just need to initialize some different things here. Okay, so basically we've done this before, so let's go ahead and type in init. And actually I'm going to space down here just a little. Okay, there we go, init, and then two parentheses, and then we got our brackets going. We're going to create a constant called texture. Okay, and that's a SK type SK texture. Okay, and then image named. Okay, and we're going to call this player 1. Again, that player name is coming from our images right here. Okay, where are we at with that? So that's right here, player 1. So that's where that's coming from here, player 1. Okay, so that's the first part. Okay, then we're going to go super init. Again, we'll talk through all this in a moment here. We're just going to kind of get everything put in. Go texture. There we go, autocomplete that. And then we're going to call in our texture constant we just made right there. Okay. We're going to go comma, we're going to go color, we're going to go SK color dot clear color. All right, and then we'll go ahead and we're going to call an animate function, which we will go ahead and we'll set that up later here. But for right now, again, we will have some errors right now, and that is okay. We're going to fix those up here in a moment. Okay, so again, this function isn't made yet. Okay, we'll take care of that in a moment. And then the parameter size as well. We'll clear all up that in a moment here. Okay, so far we've just initialized a method here. Okay, so let's go down below and add in the second piece of code here, required. And again, I'll explain all this in a moment. I just want to get this all in here. Coder, a decoder. Okay, then NS coder. All right, and then super init again. Not super class, super dot init, coder, a decoder. Okay, so that's part 1 there. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to create our function animate here. It's going to be a private function, so private func, and then we're going to call it animate. Alright, so now that function's in play here, our error goes away here. We'll take care of that missing argument for size here in a moment. Got to check that one out and see what we are not looking at, but let's focus on our animation right here, and we'll come back to that. Alright, so, oh yeah, here we go. Actually, before we get moving any further here, let's take care of this. This is my mistake. I forgot to add the size, how big we want this to be. So we're going to go size. And then we're going to go ahead and go texture dot size, and then now let's clear that out here. Okay, and then we got two parentheses on that one, and we should be good. There we go. So we are error free. We've got all the parameters for our super init texture, color, and size. So let's go back into our function down here. So first things first, let's create a variable called player textures. It's going to be of type, it's going to be an array, so we have our bracket of xk texture. All right, and it's going to be equal to an empty one to begin here. All right, so that's so we've got a player textures variable, which is an array of textures, and it's empty right now. We're going to do a for loop. So basically, a for loop is just the ability to go through a bunch of items, just kind of iterate through an array here, and then you can pull out different pieces of info. All right, so we're going to go player textures dot append. Okay, and then we need to bring in sk texture. And image named. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue typing that in there. Okay, so then image named, okay, and then we got to pull one of our images out of our file. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. All right, and I'll explain this here in a second. But let's go ahead and type in, and we got to do a little string interpolation here as well. So let's put our backslash here. And we need one more of those guys. Okay, so what happened here? Player textures.append. So we're going to add to our array an image name, and it's going to be either 1 or 2. So that's what 1 dot dot 2 means. It's going to go 1 up to 2. We've got player 1 and 2 images here. So that's why I put player I here. So I is either going to be 1 or 2 based on conditions that we set here. Okay. So what we need to do next here, okay, is we're going to go ahead here and do some animation. All right. So that way this function does animate here. So we're going to go let player animation. Okay, and then we're going to set that equal to an sk action. Then we're going to repeat the action. There we go. Okay, so then we're going to go sk action. Oh, yep, just autocomplete that. Dot animates with textures. Okay, we got a couple options here, so we're going to go ahead and choose the top one here. Okay, so animate with textures. So we're going to go player textures. We're going to bring in our array that we've already made. We're going to go time per frame is going to be 0.1. All right, and actually we don't need this count on here. Let's double check on that. Yeah, we don't need the count, so we can actually come here. If you chose this one, let's delete that out. All right, let's let some things compile here. And actually, this is a mistake on my part. It should be repeat action forever right here. That gets our errors to go away. So good. Sorry about that. All right, so because we want to repeat this over and over. We're going to self-run action, and we're going to bring in player animation here. Okay, so that's the first part there. So we've got our function animate that's going to come to life up here. And basically, it's just going to bring in some different things there. So now let's add a couple other things to our class here. So we're going to create a function. We're going to call it's going to be function die. So in the game here, if you do not beat the Space Invaders, we'll have a function ready for that. If you do beat the Space Invaders, we'll have a function called kill ready for that. And then lastly, if you want to play another game here, we'll have a function called respawn. So that way, the game didn't go well, you want to try it again, that'll take care of that for you. And then we'll create a function called fire bullets. Okay, and then this is a scene, and then we're going to put sk scene. So again, we'll code this stuff in a moment. We're just going to put these in place here. All right, so far we've done a lot. So basically the init method that we did at the top here. Okay, again, it's just the two images that we're bringing in player 1 and player 2. And then it's so basically we're just going to be switching between these images here. All right, in the animate method, okay, we have an array of player textures that will hold the textures for animation. Okay, that's what this is here. All right, we add the sk object to the array by using the for loop. So the for loop goes through and pulls out the picture and adds a picture to the array here. And then we use string interpolation to get the correct image. Okay, we then create a constant called player animation. All right, and then this brings in a repeat action forever method, and then we just invoke how long that's going to take. So 0.1 second there, and then we also bring in a run action. Okay, and then we pass player animation to it. Okay, so again, all the other methods we put in there will be added a little later in this lesson as we go through here. Okay, but just again, so basically right now we're getting the ability for our player to go through. So with the errors that we have here, we'll take care of those in a moment. We do have two errors up at the top of the screen here, but again, we can we'll fix those up here in a moment. So what we're going to do right now, okay, is we're going to go through here and we're going to start adding a couple of things. But actually, before we do that, I'm just going to stop the video at this point, just because this one's been going for a while, and it's, if you're going to watch this over, it might be a lot. So go ahead and finish this one up here. Check your screen, make sure you've got all the things we have at this point, and we'll get going with the second part here. You can start the next video as soon as you're ready. So thanks for watching this one, guys. We're going to take a quick time out here. I'm just going to go ahead and stop this from recording, and then I'll